you.
You got it.
Just like we did to your mom. Boom!
Yeah. This is Peter, Kench 1913.
This is Rob, our one-half detective that did your mom.
Yeah, we are both your mom's new boyfriends. And this is another...
Lucky you, commenter number 3.
And this is another Game of Thrones review.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 29, The Rains of Castamere.
This is a very special episode.
Yeah, this is a very good, very action-packed episode. A lot of good stuff happening, so let's get right into it.
Boom.
So, in the beginning, we have Robb and Kat, and they're talking about strategy and how they're going to take Casterly Rock from the Lannisters.
Which is a good move.
Yeah, which is a good move. They're going to show that Tywin Lannister is not like,
Invincible.
Invincible, exactly. He's not the man to be feared if they take away his shit. So, they say, do we have enough power? And Caitlyn is like, only if we have, or Robb's like, only if we have the phrase involved. Right. So we need the phrase.
So the plan is do the wedding, cross the bridge, and then head right to Casterly Rock.
Make peace with the phrase, and then hit Casterly Rock real hard.
Oh yeah.
So finally, the Starks make it to the Twins, and they go inside and they talk with Walder Frey, who's still a little mad, and he
also has a right to be.
Yeah, he does. He does. And the thing is, it's kind of neat in the beginning of once they got there, they show them eating, which is supposed to be a guest right. As soon as you break bread with your host or your guest,
it's like an ancient symbol.
Yeah, no harm will come to you.
Yeah.
So they're eating and they're talking about Walter's kind of telling them, you don't have to say you don't have to be sorry to me. Be sorry to all my daughters. He
kind of humbles Robb.
Yeah, he brings out all of his daughters and
some granddaughters.
Yeah, names them all, which I thought
names most of them, and then he forgets a few.
But... Yeah, and he does kind of humble Robb, and then
he does. He
wants to
gives him the business. He humbles him.
Yeah,
and Robb takes it because he knows he kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
so he's like, I'm gonna let him fuck with me for a while, and I'll suck up and take it like a king I'm supposed to be.
Yeah,
and then I'll win him back by essentially letting him get everything out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let him vet at me, essentially.
Yeah. And then Robb, Walder Frey, which was really nice that they brought back the same actor.
Yes.
Walder Frey asks to see the wife of Robb Stark, and he looks at her and he's like, "Oh yeah, I would have broken 50 vows just to bang her."
Yep.
And then kind of like he kind of he's like, I can see what's going on underneath there. You're trying to hide those robes, but you got a hottie there, and he's like, And so then we head over to Dany, and she's talking strategy with Dario Naharis.
Yes.
Mormont, I was about to say Commander Mormont, but he's dead. And Selmy, Branson Selmy, whatever. Selmy.
His name looks like Bannister.
Yeah, and then Grey Worm, and they're all talking strategy how to get in Yunkai. And the best way to get in is to sneak through the back gate or the side gate.
Yeah.
And then just take down like the main guards, because once you do that, then the slave guards will just leave, hand over the city. Mm-hmm. So he said that
slaves rarely fight.
Yeah,
for their enslavers.
Yeah, no, usually they don't.
Unless they have, when they're forced to, they do.
Yeah.
Other than that, they don't.
And so what ends up happening is Mormont gets kind of jealous or kind of suspicious
of
Dario's
idea.
Yeah, because it was Dario's idea. And he's like, how do you know we won't do it? And then they basically ask Grey Worm if he thinks that he's honorable or he can trust him. And Grey Worm's like, yeah, I trust this guy. So then they're like, all right, we're going to do it. So it's
I like that because they showed that that Grey Worm's becoming one of their inner circle.
Yeah, I like that
That's
too.
what I like.
Because they're like, you're the leader of all them. So like, what do you think? And he's like, I trust this guy.
Yeah. So now Dany, like Robb and Tywin, she has her little war council too.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty cool. So she sends Mormont, Dario, and Grey Worm off to go siege or take
essentially sneak in
and take over.
Yeah,
or at least open
the gates so that they can bring in their superior fighters.
So then we head over to Sam and Gilly, and they're kind of talking about the wall, and because they're very close, and he kind of telling her how they're going to get through because there's 19 castles along the wall. Yeah. Only 3 of them are manned. And what is it? So she's like, how did you know all this? He's like, because I read a lot. He's like, so you know all this from reading little markings on paper? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, you must be a wizard.
Yeah.
You're like a wizard.
The idea of literacy blows your fucking mind.
Yeah. So then what ends up happening is they're walking to the wall, and then she says something along the lines of like, no wild. They used to say no wildling ever looked on the wall and lived, and like here they are, still alive.
Yeah.
So then we head over to Arya, who and the Hound, who are making it very close to the twins. Basically, they don't get stopped, but they see this guy. He needs some help doing something.
Oh yeah, cart. Yeah.
Cart broke, so the Hound, as you can see, is master strength. He lifts up the cart.
Yes.
And the guy fixes it, and then he just slugs him because he's gonna take the cart because the guy is
gonna be his cover.
Yeah, to bring something to the twins, and then he goes off to kill him. And then Arya's like, no, don't kill him. And he's like, why not? You gotta kill him. And then rats won't. He's like, dead rats won't squeak or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, don't kill him. Leave him alone. And then he's starting to get up, and because they're kind of busting each other's balls about, like,
whether or not it's worth to kill this
guy.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's not. And so what ends up happening is the guy starts rousing, and then she just takes a thing and just knocks him out. And so he's just sitting there looking, and they kind of take the cart.
Yeah.
So then we head over to Bran and his crew. I'm just calling them Bran crew because if I got to name all of them, it's gonna take a while. So Bran and his crew, they're near this tower that is north of Winterfell, way north, in the area called the Gift, which is directly south of the wall.
It's pretty much between Winterfell and the wall.
Yeah, because what it was there for is people would live there, and they would grow stuff and give it to the wall, and basically the Night's Watch would protect them.
Yeah.
So there's no one there now because wildlings, and so what's his name? The little kid, Jojen Reed. He basically says, it's going to rain, let's get in that tower.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a big old storm. So they go. Then we head over to Jon and the wildlings, who are looking at this old man who tends to horses that he gives to the Night's Watch.
Yeah, he's a horse breeder.
Yeah, and so they want him dead, and they're going to take his horses.
Because that'll be quicker.
Yeah. And the guy said, and Jon says, no, don't kill the guy. What do you got to kill him for? And
first he lays out, I like Jon, the way Jon is playing this.
Yeah.
Because Jon is still
a crow.
True to the brothers, but he is trying to play wildling hard.
Yeah. So
he tries to put out reasons why.
Yeah, why? And
they don't. They'll hear somebody complain about a horse thief, but they'll send people murderers.
They'll send people for murderers. They'll send a whole army.
He's trying to think of reasons.
Yeah, and then Tormund Giantsbane's like, bring it on.
He vetoes it. Yeah, he's like, no, we're gonna kill this guy and take his horses and go.
So what ends up happening is they charge at this old man, and Jon does something really smart.
He does.
He bangs his sword up against a rock, making a loud noise so that the horses get startled.
Yeah.
The old man comes out. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Gets on a horse and rides away.
Yeah.
And then Ygritte tries to get him, misses, and then they're like, God damn it, but at least they got the horses.
Yes.
So the old man runs away. Then we head back to Arya, who is with the Hound once again in their smoked pig cart or whatever the hell it was. Yep. And the Hound's just chowing down on some pig feet. And she's like, if you're gonna eat it all, we're never gonna, we're not gonna have any. And he's like, this is the best part. And he's just fucking chewing on it. And then
she Hound big pig feet.
Yeah, and she just keeps looking back at the twins over there, and he's like, don't worry, you're gonna make it. And she's like, you look back every 5 minutes, like you're so afraid that when you get there, it ain't gonna be there. And she's like, I'm not afraid. And then he's like, yeah, you are. I've seen fear. And then she's like, yeah, I've seen you afraid too. When they lit the fire, you were like a little girl. And he's like, he just gets mad, and it's just like a little quip back and forth, and
they have a good one.
Yeah, and you didn't think.
I mean, I'm glad because Arya in the book is such a great character.
Yeah.
I'm glad Maisie Williams kicks ass.
Yeah.
Because her stuff with Tywin, then her stuff with the Hound is all great. And if it was a shitty little girl actress, it would suck. But she's fucking excellent.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that a little girl would be able to equip this big dangerous guy, lash tongues at each other, but they're pretty good at doing that. So then Arya kind of looks back at the twins. So, just hoping to get there.
Yeah.
So then we head back to Bran and crew, and it's thundering out, and Hodor is very, very upset right now.
He doesn't care for thunder.
No, he doesn't. So,
it hurts a small brain.
Oh, one thing I want to mention about the scene before with Bran and the crew, they're kind of talking about wildlings.
Yeah.
And then Rickon's mentioning something about wildlings, and then talking about drinking blood out of the skulls. And then Osha kind of gives them come on, as they're going to the top, come on, we'll go drink some blood or something out of the skulls.
Yeah,
and I thought that was
about it. Yeah.
So, yeah, so just keep that in mind. So we go to Hodor. He's screaming. He's like, Hodor, Hodor. And the thunder's coming down. They're like, shh, Hodor, quiet. Because then they hear horses and stuff. And outside, Jon's out there with the wildlings as they found the old man.
Yeah.
And so the old man's on the ground. They pick him up. They're going to kill him. Orel, who's the warg of the wildlings, he goes, let the crow kill him.
Yeah.
Show that he's one of the wildlings. And Jon's like, I can't, he's like, he's getting ready to kill him. He's getting ready to kill him. And then all of a sudden, Ygritte just shoots the bow through him. And then what happens after that? Ygritte shoots the bow through him. And then Orel just says, see, I told you he was one of them. Yeah. And so they start fighting. And Hodor's still out there. Or no, wait, how does it go? Bran kind of calms down Hodor.
He jumps into him.
By jumping into him like he would jump into
the wolf
in
his dreams.
And so Hodor kind of quiets down. And he's like...
He basically just shuts off.
Yeah, he's like the first person to ever do that. And so it's kind of cool. So Jojen's in there and he's telling him, if you don't... Where are the wolves? If you don't... And they're outside, of course. He's like, if you don't get that to them, they're going to come in here and they're going to find us. So he's like, I can't, I do it while I'm asleep. He's like, you could do it. And then finally Bran jumps into the direwolf. And as Jon is being attacked by Orel and everybody, the direwolves jump in and they kind of help save the day.
And it makes a really fucking good fight.
And it does. And then Jon, if you take a look, he kind of gives like a little look. He's like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't think he goes, oh my god, is that like summer or whatever? Mm-hmm. But he's like, oh, fucking direwolves.
He gives a look of recognition.
Yeah, and he just keeps fighting. And then he runs off on his horsey and you grab.
Not before he gets fucked up. Because
No. He actually, yeah. He stabs Orel.
He kills Orel.
Yeah, and
he even gives him a nice little you were right the whole time.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden this fucking eagle that Orel's been controlling just comes on down and just claws at his fucking face.
Yeah.
So he runs over to the horse and jumps on the horse and then gets away.
Gets the fuck out of Dodge.
And Ygritte, the face that she gives could fucking kill like a legion of dogs. It's crazy. like it was just like she just like, that son of a bitch, Jon, like a fucking like disgust, dismay, fucking just like
sorrow,
like oh my
sadness,
god, yeah, really great look.
Yeah. And
so after that, we go back to that was a good scene. We go back to where the hell are we? Bran, and then Jon fights Orel, and then we go to Dario and the crew, and they go into Yunkai. And, he whistles them in. He goes in by himself.
He said, they know me, I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to get in, take out the couple guys at the door, let you guys in, then we'll go through with our plan. Yeah,
so they get in. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of guys come. And I thought this scene was really cool, because now we finally see more. I mean, we saw Mormont fight a little bit.
Very little bit.
In the first season.
But we get to see him fight a lot.
Yeah, and we also get to see Grey Worm and I kind of like the three fighting styles, because then we have Dario.
All three had very different fighting styles, which was really cool.
Yeah, I like that. We had Dario with his haka, the curved blade.
Rocks.
Yeah, and then we had, Grey Worm with the spear just stabbing.
Yeah. And really twirling it around like it was a bow staff or something.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
And I love Mormont because he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget that because there's a lot of big people on Game of Thrones, but when he's one hand twirling a fucking broadsword, you just really recognize how big and strong this guy's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And just showing all the different styles was neat.
Yeah, and what happened is they kill all the guys.
Yeah.
But then more guys show up, and then that's when they cut away. So you're like, oh my god, what's going to happen to them? So then we head over to the marriage of Edmure and Rosalind Frey.
Who we find out is not a barking dog.
Yeah, she's actually
pretty attractive.
Pretty. And then Edmure's like, thank God. And then I like this look. Like Rob looks at Rosalind and he's like, wow, she's hot. And then he looks over at Walder, and Walder kind of gives a look like,
he gives a half shrug. Which
he's like, hey.
When you watch it the first time, to me, a look of, I threw him a bone.
Yeah.
But to me, that look said, we're okay.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I read.
That's what I thought the look was too.
It was like, you let me talk shit to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give your uncle a decent.
Yeah. And so then they're having their little wedding ceremony. Yeah. Catelyn's so happy because Edmure's getting married to like.
And things are going smooth.
Yeah, and then you see Brynden kind of look over at these at these girls, these hags of girls, and they just kind of smile back at him.
Yeah.
The blackfish, and then he just turns around again, and he's like, "Oh, forget it. I don't want no shit."
Yeah.
And so, and then
this episode had a couple little funny moments.
Yeah, and I love the fact, just in the background, you can see a Manderly. He's a huge guy with the funny mustache and beard. I just love the fact that they paid attention to detail. They had other Stark bannermen there, which was really, really cool. And so they get married, which was nice, a nice little scene. And then we head back to the tower where Bran and crew are staying.
Yeah.
And at this point, Bran's talking about how he has to go north of the wall.
Yep.
He's got it. I mean, he's got to go there. The Three-Eyed Crows tell him to go. Jojen wants him to go. Everyone's going. And Ocean's like, no, not going, not going.
Yeah.
So then they finally decide to split up.
Yes.
And Rickon and Osha are going to go together with Shaggy Dog. To the Umbers at the last hearth.
Right, they're one of the big Stark bannermen.
Yeah, and Bran and the rest of his group are going to head north, and they're going to go through the castle, one of the castles, to get through.
Right. Because
there's no way they'd climb the wall. So it was a nice little touching scene where Osha was like, your family showed me kindness when no one else would. Mm-hmm. And then he tells Jojen and Mira Reed, she's like, you make sure to take care of him because he means the world to me. Mm-hmm. And I really like that because it was like, that's probably something that probably was in the book in the essence that Osha did care for these kids
by the end, yeah.
And by the end, and it's just a nice little scene that you actually get to see it.
Yes.
And so they leave in the dead of night to head towards the last hearth. They break up, and I like that scene. Then we head over to Dany and her crew.
Yep.
Who are just hanging out, and she's talking with Selmy about how long does it take for the siege.
Yeah, they're doing the nervous. Yeah. They're waiting to hear the news.
Yeah, and so finally, Jorah
bursts in.
Jorah Mormont and Grey Worm,
little bloody.
Yeah, Grey Worm come in, and they're like, "We won, we took Yunkai," and she just gives a look and Daria Naharis, and the look Mormont gives heartbroken.
It's as if he had just said, "Hey, are you going to prom?" And she goes, "Oh my God, yes, with Brad." And then he goes, "Cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Daria Naharis comes right behind and says, "We've taken the city. The slaves have dropped their thing." And then everyone's all like, "Yay, whoopee!" And then I just feel so bad for Jorah in that scene. I was like, "Oh man."
He loves her, and she does not love him.
So we head to the final, not the final part of the episode, which is where most of the real action happens. We head over to what is it? To the wedding
reception. Yep.
And
he's drinking and dancing, and
Rob's talking with his wife about what the hell are they talking about? They're just talking about wedding
a couple different
stuff.
things. They're talking about baby names.
Yeah, and then they don't want to kiss because it'd make it look bad for the phrase. Yeah. And then Catelyn and her brother, her uncle are talking, and
with Roose, I think.
Yeah, Roose Bolton.
All kind of bullshitting.
Yeah, and talking about Roose got married to a Frey as well, and he married the fattest Frey because Frey was going to give him the most gold for the wife's weight in gold. So so as you can see, that was kind of cunning. And then the Blackfish leaves, goes takes a piss. He's out of there. And then after that, Edmure, Walder Frey decides, let's get the betting beginning. What do you think, Rob? Should we do it? And he's like, by all means, if you think they're ready, let's get the betting going. And what the betting is basically the women take the guy and the guys take the girl, and they start undressing them and bring them up to the bed and make sure that they bang, because that's really the only way to...
They pretty much strip them down, the gals with the groom and the men with the bride, and they strip them down, carry them off the bedroom, stick them in, and everybody kind of listens outside the door as they fuck.
Yeah, and then one of the funny lines was Edmure said, he's like, "Whoa, don't uncage this monster because he might not go back in," or something like that. I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So they leave, and then they lock the door, and Rob is talking with his wifey, and she's like, "That's kind of a weird custom," and blah blah blah. And they talk about they have a nice little moment where they're like, oh, I think it's gonna be the baby's gonna be a boy, and we're gonna name it name it Eddard, and he's like, wouldn't you like to have an Eddard go running around? And then what ends up happening is Catelyn kind of looks and notices that the door's getting locked. So then she hears this weird song playing, because there's a bunch. Basically, the Freys are on the ground here, and then up above in like the balcony on top is a bunch of musicians.
Yeah, the band, yeah.
And they're playing a familiar song.
Yes.
It's the Rains of Castamere.
Yes.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is then I believe Walder says something to Robb, and then
Roose Bolton also sits down next to Catelyn.
Yeah,
and he gives her a look and a creepy smile.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, nudges his arm at her.
Yeah.
And she looks down and notices he's wearing chainmail.
Yeah, and you wonder
and for a second she goes,
You wonder why he's wearing chainmail at a wedding.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she gets up and screams, Robb, get out of here, and then all of a sudden they're playing the Rains of Castamere, the musicians up there.
Yes.
And they just throw down their things and take out some crossbows and then start shooting the fuck out of all the Stark men, killing them all. And then all of a sudden you see the one guy who was sitting next to Talisa, that was her name, just gets up and just fucking stabs her right in the fucking
belly, and over and over and over.
He gives the look of like, oh, you're starting to cry my child.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's very brutal, by the way.
It's gut-wrenching.
And so she kind of gets up and walks away. Robb's getting shot with arrows. Catelyn, I don't remember if she gets shot, but she gets
up under a table.
Under a table while all the Stark men are getting killed.
Yep.
And so then we head to outside where basically the Hound gets there, and
he's got
Arya with him, and he's talking.
He's trying to bullshit his way in.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, go fuck off.
Arya runs away for a moment,
yeah,
and she sees all the Stark men. She's like, oh my god, I'm here finally. Mm-hmm. She hears Grey Wolf. He's kind of like, because he wants out because he knows something bad's happening.
He's being held in a small pen.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is she sees the Frey guys just come out and start massacring the Stark guys while at the wedding. Yeah. Holy shit, just killing, and then a fucking terrible scene. They just come up with crossbows and they go right into the pen, and they shoot fucking Grey Wind, and then Arya just sees Grey Wind on the ground, and then his eyes close, and I'm like, oh god, what's happening? And then they go, back in, and Catelyn just kind of crawls over as Robb is crawling over to his wife. Yeah. And he just kind of like just looks at her. He's like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is going on?" And Catelyn takes one of Walder's newest wife and just grabs her. She's like, "That's enough." She's like, She
tries to barter the way out.
She's like, "That's enough. He's my son. You let him go, and we won't do any vengeance." And he's like, "Why would I do that?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Please, he's my son." And she's like,
she even threatens to
kill the girl. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll just get another."
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is Roose Bolton comes out and just stabs Robb right in the gut and says, "The Lannisters send their regards." And then I think Robb doesn't say anything. He said mother right before that. Yeah. He's like, "Mother," and then he just comes up, stab, and and then dead. And then she just like, ah!
She gives a nice death scream.
And she just slits the girl's throat. And then she just looks like defeated.
Yeah.
And they really let her just stay, like the scene.
It's
just
like a 10 seconds, which is not a long time until you're looking at somebody do nothing for 10 seconds.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden one of the Frey guys comes and slits her throat. But quickly to go back to the Arya scene, like she tries to do something and the Hound knocks her down and gets her. It's like it's too late. But yeah, just killing, just boom, Catelyn, boom, that's it. And like the Starks are kind of wiped out here, and you're like, what the fuck? Now let me tell you, as both of us are book readers,
yes,
we knew this was coming. This was what was called the Red Wedding. Right? Yeah. Probably the most surprising thing that happened since Ned Stark's head being cut off. Easily. So it's like everyone, seriously, after this episode, my aunt called who watches the show. Mm-hmm. She said, "I don't want to watch the show anymore. I don't know why do they keep doing this. I don't want to watch it anymore." And I'm like, it happened in the book, and even when even though you knew, like when I was watching it, we're not even going to talk about like what we like best or whatever.
No.
But we'll just talk about like, even though I knew it was happening on the show, I was still amazed on how like violent it actually really was, and how like gruesome it actually really got.
Little ways in which they were able to surprise us too.
Yeah.
Like in the books, Rob's wife isn't at the wedding.
Yeah.
So we were expecting her to be spared.
Yeah.
And I think she might even be the first blood that's drawn. Yeah. When they walk up behind her and stab her in the gut.
Stab her right in the gut.
So automatically you got even the book readers going, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I literally, like that happened and I went, holy fuck, at my television. Alone.
Because I didn't mention this back a couple episodes when Rob was pregnant, but I didn't mention this on purpose because I didn't think, because, the difference between the book is Rob's wife was pregnant. Yeah. And I don't think she's pregnant in the book.
Or at least he wasn't told.
Yeah, at least it wasn't told.
It's teased and hinted, but we never told.
And so that's why we thought that, maybe that's what's going to happen in the books. She's going to be pregnant or whatever. But she's not at the Red Wedding, and then she just gets killed here, and then I'm like, oh my god. There's no way that's oh man, it was brutal.
It really was.
I think the most brutal, just to go to the multitude of deaths, I'm gonna say my least favorite death instead this time. Because they were all very good. My least favorite was Grey Wind, I think. Rob's direwolf, because he didn't even get a chance. Like, the poor guy. Yeah. And it felt like, oh man, Arya, because Arya's going to get him out of there. Yeah, maybe something happened.
They got like a puncher's chance. Yeah.
So what death was your least or most favorite? You had Stark Bannermen.
I don't know.
You had all the Stark Bannermen. You had the Yunkai guards. Yeah. You had the wildlings that got killed by Jon Snow. The old man who got killed in the horse. I agree. Yeah. Orell, sorta. Yep. Rob's wife. Yeah. Walder Frey's wife. Yep. Grey Wind. Catelyn. The bodies just add up in this episode. Yeah. It's real crazy.
I don't know if I have a favorite or least. I don't know. Talisa's was the most shocking of the
Yeah, totally. Because I thought, because Brynden Tully in the book is all. We'll talk about differences as well here. Yeah. He never made it to the wedding. He was at River Run. So that's why they explained him leaving and being spared, basically. And with the wife, I was like, she's gonna leave, right?
That's what I kind of thought.
Maybe Brendan's gonna take her out with him, like, we both need to go take a leak, whatever. And then
some excuse.
Yeah, and no. You know what? And it made it more heart wrenching that they were talking about. Oh, we're gonna name him Ned.
I know.
We're gonna name the baby Ned.
It's such a good idea of making you fucking get upset.
And then boom, dead. Yeah. Man. But
that was the big shocker. But to me, this episode is also terrific because I think it's the best acting we get to see from Robb Stark, Catelyn Stark, Talisa, Walder Frey, even though he's only been in a couple episodes. Bruce Bolton, ditto. He hasn't had a lot, but it's his best episode so far. I think the best Bran episode. Yeah. Rickon finally gets to have a scene.
Yeah, Rickon
the best Osha episode, probably. Yeah. Maybe the one with Theon when she escapes from Theon.
Yeah.
She was good in that too. The best Jojen. The best Hodor.
Yeah.
Even though he gets to actually do something instead of just say Hodor and walk around.
And show his giant cock.
The best Jon, maybe.
Yeah.
Not definite, but maybe.
Yeah.
The best Agreed, definitely.
Yeah.
Like you said, that one look she gives is like
terrific. Like, oh my god, I can't believe this.
No. Probably the best Tormund. Like,
just a lot of great.
Yeah, there's like so many characters' best performances in one episode that it's amazing, and that it just adds to how awesome this episode is.
Yeah.
Which is why it probably will just barely eclipse Blackwater as the best episode.
Yeah. I think so. I think it was better than Blackwater just because of all the action, like all over the world, rather than just at the one key location. Like, don't get me wrong, Blackwater was an amazing episode, but this one is just a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, differences between book, we kind of talked about it. We kind of discussed, what we liked and disliked. Favorite line, Rob?
I would say when Arya and the Hound are talking and she threatens to stab him in the eye and out his skull. Out his skull. That was nice.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of 12-year-old girls throwing that around.
No, and especially the Hound.
To a big fuck dude.
Yeah, especially the Hound. Like, who would throw that around him? Because he's a fucking menacing-looking man.
He is.
So, I think my favorite line is probably one of the last lines of the show.
Yeah.
Bruce Bolton stabs Robb in the chest. Says, the Lannisters send their regards.
Yes.
And at
making sure before he dies, he knows that that's who did it.
Yeah. Because no one but the guys who lived are going to know the Lannisters helped out.
Pretty much.
And, wowee. Yeah. So, this was the Red Wedding episode. A lot of people, like I said, were very surprised that Robb was going to die, especially if they didn't read the books, which is something that, like, I don't know, there's like two groups of people that watch or deal with the show. It's like the book readers and then the not book readers. And all those reaction videos that came out about
were pretty great.
Were pretty awesome. And even George R. R. Martin came out and said it. And this is why nerds have been sad for over 14 years.
Yeah.
14 years ago, they were really sad. It was because this happened. But, yeah, a lot of fucked up things. Like, I think, to me, if I didn't read the books, this would have been another moment where I would have gotten up out of my chair and said, what the fuck? Yeah. Just like, oh my fucking God. Like, what the fuck?
Well, pretty much everybody's...
Yeah, that was everyone's reaction.
So it was great.
Yeah. So the ladies lose some people, like, to look at eye candy with Robb. The men don't really lose a lot there, but, you know, what are you going to do? So, Red Wedding, it happened.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have to move on. Don't worry. There's more great stuff that's going to happen.
And while people you love getting killed.
Yeah. So
Game of Thrones, well, we don't care about your feelings.
No, he doesn't. That's what I love about him. Don't expect anyone that you love, just try to stop loving them because they might die.
They're gonna.
Yeah. So this has been Pete or Kenshin 1913.
Saturday's Rob.
And this has been another Game of Thrones review. See ya.
Later.